Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Total Biscuit. I'm going to take a little quick look here at a playable pre-alpha demo of War for the Overworld. Now, this looks rather suspiciously Dungeon Keeper-y, and there is a reason for that, because that's blatantly what it is. There's no real question about that, especially considering Dungeon Keeper 3 was supposed to be a War for the Overworld. If you remember the one CG trailer they released for that game before Bullfrog ceased to be, then you will probably recall that. So what we have here is a spiritual sequel, which is not running especially well, as again, this is a pre-alpha proof-of-concept demo and nothing more than that. So you won't be seeing a particularly long video here, but what it does show is a good idea of what this game is supposed to look like. So, if you remember Dungeon Keeper 2, it's very much in the graphic style of that, although slightly less wonky. It's probably the best way to describe it. Dungeon Keeper 2 had a very interesting graphic style in the sense that the game was kind of, everything was sort of slanted and at a weird angle, just a little bit twisted. Twisted, yeah, that's a good word to go with. But here, it's slightly less so, and it's a little bit more high fidelity. It's currently running the Unity engine, which means this is playable online as well as a standalone product. The frame rate, as I said, doesn't leave a lot to be desired, but this is nowhere near the finished product. Now, they're promising to ship this by August 2013 if they can actually fund it, and they're asking, I believe, for £150,000. They're just above halfway to their goal, with just under 2 weeks remaining. Certainly not impossible. So, if we have a look over here, you can see some of the models. To bring this up, this will actually show you where we're going. So, we can zoom in a little bit. And I can show you some of the models here. There's not a huge amount here as of yet, as you can imagine. These are the imps. A couple of placeholders. That is a hand, because, you know, why not? I believe there's a couple of creatures there. There's one of them, in fact. And another one. Looks like some kind of necromancer of sorts. And a goblin. Now, if I... You can also rotate it here, as you can see. Get rid of that. Now, if I zoom out, I believe we actually do have a fighting pit. A training room over here that may show you some more models. Don't believe these guys are moving yet. But that will show you some of the models. Some of the things that are going on. Now what I can do is... the imps just have no AI at the moment. I can summon imps. And then I can possess one of them. And we can actually have a look around this world in first person. The possession spell was a key feature of Dungeon Keeper 1 and 2. It is also available here. Which allows us to run around and just have a little bit of a closer look. And the way the game looks and the way the game handles in this very, very early state is looking alright, honestly. And it's good to see that we have not only one Dungeon Keeper slash Theme Hospital slash Startopia style game coming in our direction in the form of Maya, but we also have War for the Overworld as a possibility, assuming the thing actually ends up getting funded. There's not really a lot to see here, but I wanted to show you it anyway, because I am a bit of a Dungeon Keeper fanatic, I have to say. I love that game. I do keep installing it every now and again just to check it out and see what's going on. I very much doubt I can actually possess that. It's not a real thing yet, but there you go. The holders and a couple of necromancers and things like that. I really did like that game a lot. And honestly, I think it's because it had a unique setting and it had a big emphasis on base building and the construction of traps, which is what I really, really liked in my RTS. That, to me, was absolutely astounding. And as a result, Dungeon Keeper remains one of my favorite titles of all time, I think. There you go, we can... Let's mark this out for digging. This should very much remind you of Dungeon Keeper 2, because this is exactly how it handled there. Although this is somewhat buggy, of course, to say the least. But this does look promising, I've got to say. Interesting engine to put it in. As regards to the feature list, well, it's pretty much what you'd expect from a Dungeon Keeper game. Their stretch goals include co-op campaign for 2 players, as well as things like a MOBA-style map, and a campaign where you actually play as the good guys. Which is an intriguing idea. Not sure how that would really work out. Probably wouldn't be as good as the main campaign. I don't think there's any real doubt about that. That was the real fun. But certainly a lengthy campaign involving an awful lot of building dungeons, setting traps, and doing stuff like that would certainly be appreciated. That is something I ideally miss. For some reason, we don't get those kind of games anymore. I was hoping that Dungeons would end up being that, but as it turns out, it really was not. Certainly looks a bit promising. I mean, looking at the development team, and it's Subterranean Games in cooperation with Rise. Now, that is a new company. They don't really have an awful lot going for them in terms of previous titles. In fact, they don't really have any. So, yeah, that's probably going to concern a lot of people, and I certainly don't blame them for that. It is a legitimate concern. But the fact that they've been able to produce this pre-alpha demo and actually show, oh, okay, the very, very basics, the bare bones of the game actually do work. And it looks good, and they seem to have got the feel right, they seem to have got the aesthetic right. I particularly love the treasure piles there, that's quite nice, even though it looks like they are made of gold paint. That's fine, it's pre-alpha. Plenty more improvement to go here. Texture quality seems good, the overall design seems pretty good as well. Might very well be worth a backing. The backing cost is £10, which is around $15 to $16 if you wish to get yourself a copy of the game. The link to the Kickstarter is in the description below this video, and if you want to try out the demo yourself and just see how the very basics of it handle, then you can do that too. It is also linked on the Kickstarter page. Just thought I'd make you aware of this one, because it is looking quite interesting, and there is the very real possibility that these guys can actually deliver if this pre-alpha demo is anything to go by. Evil is good, as Dungeon Keeper pointed out. Bullfrog sadly was not, and disappeared. And that is a very sad thing indeed, taking very many cool properties with it. I guess the only thing we need now is a proper reboot of the Syndicate series that isn't a first-person shooter in 65 FOV. My name is Total Biscuit. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you are interested in kickstarting this game, you can do that. Head on over to the link in the description below this video, and we may very well yet see Dungeon Keeper 3. I'll see you next time.